Hi, I'm Shreya Pattar, and I would like to start this speech by sharing my unforeseen journey. So let's go back a few years first, to when I was around 15 years old. At the time, I was so fascinated by the human body. In fact, I still am, but at the time, it was just unbelievable for me to think of everything that goes on inside us and how it gives birth to this thing called life. And what I found even more fascinating was the power that doctors had over this body and how they could basically give people another life by curing them, healing them, and making them feel better. So keeping all of this in mind, I really wanted to be a doctor and I really wanted to pursue medicine. So at the time, I chose science and I chose to pursue science in my high school. And at the time, yes, I was also writing. I used to mainly write something for myself. So the kind of writing I did was, I guess, very isolated, very personal, very unrevealing, and very cooped up only in, in my books or in my journals. And occasionally, even if I did publish them online, they were always under a pseudonym. So I never, was really out there with any of my writing. So I always thought that if I were a doctor, then I could always keep writing while waiting for my patients, and that way I could pursue both my career options, such as the field of medicine and also writing. But then once I started high school, I think everything changed, and I realized that this wasn't enough for me, and I wanted something entirely different. So without actually much thought, I went up to my parents and I told them, just a few weeks before my board exams, I told them I want to study literature. And I had not thought a lot about this. I didn't even know what to expect. I didn't know what they would say. I just went up and told them that I want to study literature. And I gave it a shot and I shared what felt right for me. And my parents agreed almost instantly. And I think the reason they agreed was because they already knew this about me. They already had a sense or had an inkling that I should go in for English instead of what I was planning to pursue. And maybe because they already saw that in me, maybe because they already knew it before I did. Anyways, so when they said okay, I started preparing for the SATs, and eventually I moved to Ireland to pursue English and philosophy at Trinity College Dublin. So all of this happened because I went up to my parents and I told them that I want to study literature. Now, once I moved to college, I think everything changed for me. The most important thing was that I was exposed to so many new events, to new people, to new situations, new competitions, new opportunities. And the best thing I did when I was there was that I said yes to so many things and I showed up for so many things that changed my life. So one of the events was wherein I met the former CEO and present executive chairman of LinkedIn, Jeff Weiner. And I met him at an event in college. And after his event, I just went up to him and spoke to him for a few minutes. Then later that night, I went home, I wrote down a post about meeting him and I published it on LinkedIn. And I didn't think much about it because this was the first time I had ever published anything on LinkedIn. I just had a profile until then. So I didn't think much about it. I just put it up and, I went to sleep. And the next morning when I was in my class, I was just attending a normal lecture and suddenly my phone started buzzing in my bag. So I don't put my phone on completely on silent or anything. I put it on silent in a way that it just vibrates. That's because I don't receive a lot of text normally. But I think that day something was happening because I had so many messages. Everything was just buzzing constantly and I didn't know what was going on. It was just very surprising. It had never happened before. So I took out my phone after my lecture and I saw that it wasn't a random WhatsApp group created for my college and stuff like that. It wasn't that. Instead, it was my LinkedIn post going viral. So within those 12-15 odd hours, my LinkedIn post had got a lot of thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, and I got hundreds of messages from that one post. Now, a lot of these messages were about, you know, how much people liked the story, and some people even had follow-up questions about this meeting. But other than that, a lot of people actually messaged me saying that they liked my writing style and they wanted me to do something similar for them. So I received a lot of messages asking me like, hey Shreya, you know, we loved your writing, do you write for other people as well? And I had never done that before. So I had never written personally for anyone directly. I had always, you know, the kind of work experience I had was through internships, which meant I had a boss to confirm the work and to take the responsibility, which was something that I had never done before. So this was all fairly new to me. And then I just said yes, and over the next 3 to 4 days, this post ended up picking up even further. It ended up with 1.5 million views and 14,000 likes and hundreds of messages, which meant a lot of more people just messaged me saying, you know, can you write for us? And once again, I kept saying yes. I hoped that I would figure it out along the way. So I kept saying yes, and eventually I ended up here. So that's how my freelancing career started, because I showed up to the event and I showed up to, you know, LinkedIn, and I showed up and I posted something. Now, I had never expected this to happen. Like, I had never had this experience before. I had never posted anything publicly under my name. I had never had something that was read by 1.5 million people. I had never worked with clients directly beyond my internships. And suddenly, within a span of 3 days, I was able to experience all of this. And the best thing I think I did was that I made the most of it. So anytime any opportunity came up to me, I just started saying yes to it more often, and I thought I will figure it out later, because it's much easier to figure things out while on the job. So I just said yes, and I kept going on with it. And over the next few months, I also started saying yes to other things in college. So I was more outgoing in terms of participating in events, in competitions and things like that. And also, once I started freelancing, I realized that I don't only have an inclination towards writing, but also towards the business world, towards the professional side of things, towards making things happen. And that is why I just started saying yes to a lot of startup competitions as well. And this led me to doing something that I had never done before. So I ended up coming up with a startup idea, and I pitched it at a competition in Trinity as the only solo founder team. And after a lot of shortlisting and a lot of selections and a lot of multiple rounds, I ended up winning 2,500 euros funding for my startup idea. And I had never done this before. And the reason this worked out was because I just showed up and I said, yes, I want to do it. I want to come up with an idea and I want to pitch. And that's how it all came together. So once I won this competition, I think more people started knowing me, especially in the business school. Now, I was studying English and philosophy, so I was an art student, and people knowing me in the business school was an entirely different thing. So suddenly, you know, all these mentors, they knew me, all these staff, they knew me, and it became so much more easier for me to connect with new opportunities, because if anything came up in the business school, they would always email me asking if I was interested in being a part of it. And anything that I found interesting, or even that I thought could help me a little bit, I always said yes to it. So just like I showed up to all of these different things, even today I show up to various things. So I show up to, you know, to working for my clients, to posting on my LinkedIn profile and other social media. I show up on such talks like TEDx talks. I show up to the gym every day. I just keep showing up to all these small, meaningful things in my life. And I think that's what ends up becoming this whole, you know, beautiful thing, and that allows me to live my life the way I want to. So that's the essence of the story I'm sharing with you today. It's show up. I mean, look, the first thing you need to do if you want to win a race is to participate in it. Now, you may, if you don't participate in it, you will definitely not win. But the thing is that you are not giving yourself a chance at all at winning. And even if you are the best runner in the world, even if you have the best possible training, the best possible coaches, the best possible diet, and you have practiced a zillion times and you know exactly how to run, and you know that you're the fastest, but it doesn't really matter if you don't show up at the right date, the right time, and the right moment, at the right opportunity that you're supposed to. So showing up is super important, because that's where all the magic happens. So if you don't show up to the big race, then you just, you cannot win it by default. So when, if you want to win a race, you have to participate in it. That's the point. And that is exactly what it means to show up for something. So showing up means giving yourself a chance to do something good for your own self. Showing up means, creating an opportunity which would otherwise not be available to you. Showing up means standing out of the competition and sometimes even seizing that initiative to put yourself in that competition and make all the odds work in your favor. And showing up means making yourself really easily recognizable and reachable by just building your presence everywhere and becoming, somebody that a lot of people know. So that's what showing up means. You basically become your own walking, talking advertisement, and all the opportunities, they just come to you as if you are a magnet attracting them. That's what showing up is. Now, I realize that, just because you're showing up, it doesn't mean that you will always get good opportunities or that you will always get good results. But over time, when you keep showing up, the attribute of showing up is such that it compounds. The power is in its compounding. So if you just keep showing up every single day, you will gain so much experience, so much insight. You will make so many mistakes, learn so many lessons that will then allow you to, win eventually. So now comes the big question. What if I am late to this thing called showing up? What if I am late to start doing that? Well, let me tell you two things here, okay? So showing up in my life started many, many years ago. So I started writing when I was 8 years old. So you can say that everything that happened to me now started when I was 8 years old. If I had not shown up to writing at some point in my life, then I wouldn't be here. But then again, I probably wouldn't have even started writing if I were not reading before that. And I wouldn't have started reading and writing if I hadn't seen my parents reading books day and night and, just sitting there and imitating them with my own book. That wouldn't have happened. So maybe, just maybe, that's where it really started, and not with a LinkedIn post or with me moving to Ireland. Maybe that's where everything that happened to me now, that's where it started. But then again, there are many decisions that could have even stopped me from reaching where I am today. So, questions like, what if I had not told my parents that I want to study literature? Or what if I had not shown up to Jeff Viner's interview? What if I had not gone up to him and spoken to him? What if I had not written that LinkedIn post? What if I had not published that LinkedIn post? What if I had not responded to all the people who messaged me after reading my LinkedIn post? What if I had not said yes to all these opportunities? What if I had just, not done this, and how would I have ended up here? And most importantly, what if I had not continued saying yes every single day to opportunities, meaningful opportunities that came my way? What if I hadn't done that? So my point is that firstly, there is a cause for a certain event, right? There's always a cause. There's a reason why something happens. And in this case, being a successful content writer can probably go back to my LinkedIn post, or the cause for that can also go back to when I was 8 years old and started writing for the first time in my life. Now, secondly, that the cause for this event, in this case, being a successful content writer, is not just one particular cause, but rather everything that has happened in my life accumulating and compounding together because I decided to show up every single day. So maybe that is the cause of everything that's happened today. So I think that every single decision you make every single day of your life counts towards whatever it is that you plan to do or achieve or, wish to gain for yourself. So moving to Trinity and, getting that viral post, all of that in retrospect was a small part of everything that everything that has led me here. And I think the most important attribute, of course, has been the fact that I kept saying yes to opportunities and I kept pursuing them continuously, regularly, and with full commitment. Basically, I showed up when I wanted to, but most importantly, I showed up when I didn't want to. So, what can you take away from this? Well, the first thing is that you should show up, because showing up is just the right way to create more opportunities for yourself. And any unexpected event, something that you can't even think can change your life, has the ability to do that. So always show up for things that you find meaningful. Second, causation is real. So causation basically means that there is always one event that causes another event. So causation means that there is an event called the cause that leads to producing another event. And in this case, you could say that it's probably that one LinkedIn post of mine that led me here. But as I said, there are so many things over the years that have combined and become this one thing that has led me to this journey, right? So I would say that every single action that you take, every single minute of your life acts as a cause for a certain event. And the event in this case would be whatever you wish to achieve. So always make every single minute count. Always keep acting towards things that would help you reach closer to your goal and achieve as much as you want to achieve. And the third thing is start now. It doesn't matter how old you are, if you are 10 or 12 or 15, 18, 21, 25, it doesn't matter. What matters is you start now, because there can be a lot of things together that change your life, or there can be just one thing that can get the ball rolling for you, and again lead you to all those actions that can change your life. So you never know when that can happen, so start acting on it now. So I hope this speech has inspired you to start now, and I really appreciate you showing up here. So thank you so much for showing up for this speech, and keep showing up to things that matter to you. Thank you so much.